Hey everyone, I'm Mr. Willis, and welcome back to You Will Love AP Gov. Thanks for joining me for another video on one of the required Supreme Court cases for AP US Government. Today's video is examining one of the most transformative decisions in American legal and civil rights history, Brown v. Board of Education. This landmark case dismantled the legal basis for racial segregation in public schools and redefined the role of the Supreme Court in promoting social justice. If you're taking notes for your AP class or prepping for the AP exam, remember to click on the link below and download the free guided notebook page to make it easier to follow along. Let's break it down. In the early 1950s, racial segregation in public education was common across much of the United States, especially in the South. Under the doctrine of separate but equal, established by Plessy v. Ferguson in 1896, states were allowed to maintain racially separate public facilities. African American students often attended underfunded and overcrowded schools that lacked basic resources and were clearly inferior to their white counterparts. In the fall of 1950, Oliver Brown, an African American father, attempted to enroll his daughter Linda Brown in Sumner Elementary School in Topeka, Kansas. Sumner Elementary was an all-white elementary school that was close to their home. The request was denied, forcing Linda to attend a distant and under-resourced black school instead. Brown, along with 12 other African American parents, joined a lawsuit against the Topeka Board of Education. This case was one of 5 brought by the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, challenging school segregation across different states, including South Carolina, Virginia, Delaware, and Washington, D.C. These cases were consolidated under the name Brown v. Board of Education and brought before the U.S. Supreme Court. The central legal question of the case was this: does racial segregation in public schools, even if facilities are physically equal, violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment? In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court ruled that racial segregation in public education does in fact violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The court held that separate but equal educational facilities are inherently unequal and therefore unconstitutional. This holding marked a fundamental shift in constitutional law, overturning the precedent set in Plessy v. Ferguson and affirming that state-sanctioned segregation creates and perpetuates inequality. Chief Justice Earl Warren emphasized that education is a core function of government, vital to child development and to democratic participation. He concluded that separating children solely based on race instills a sense of inferiority that affects their hearts and minds in a way unlikely ever to be undone. Thus, even if physical facilities and other tangible factors are equal, the intangible consequences of segregation rendered it unconstitutional. While this decision effectively overturned Plessy v. Ferguson as it applied to public education, the court did not prescribe an immediate remedy, but in a follow-up decision, Brown v. Board of Education 2, 1955, it ordered desegregation to proceed with all deliberate speed. Brown v. Board of Education was a catalyst for the civil rights movement and signaled that the federal judiciary would be a powerful agent for social change. It marked a turning point in constitutional law, showcasing how the Supreme Court can enforce individual rights against discriminatory state practices. Today, Brown remains a cornerstone of equal protection jurisprudence. It set a precedent that has been used to challenge discrimination in many forms, not just racial, but also gender-based, economic, and more. The case reaffirmed the principle that the Constitution must be interpreted in light of evolving social realities, and it continues to influence how we view equality, education, and civil rights policy. And that's everything you need to know about Brown v. Board of Education. You can click here for additional videos for AP US Government, and be sure to check out my videos on AP Macroeconomics and AP Microeconomics as well. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content on AP Government and Economics. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on You Will Love AP Gov.